Hey Gobbos, it's John from Hobby Goblins, and I've got 3 underrated Tau units that we're going to take a look at. Now, what makes them underrated is not that they are your workhorses or your bread and butter, but that they're tools that effectively let you control the board and dictate the pace of the game. First up, and staple of many Tau lists, are the Pathfinders. This unit, however, is sometimes misunderstood. Offensively, you have Breachers, so don't take them for that. Defensively, even worse. Only 1 OC and fairly fragile. Abilities, that is where they shine. They have double guide with ignoring cover, giving you a good chance for an early offensive. You don't bring Pathfinders for offense. You have Breachers for that. However, Pathfinders, their ion rifles and sometimes their rail rifles can surprise you in a pinch. Defensively, unfortunately, they're not much better. With low OC and fairly fragile toughness 3, they're not going to hold out for very long. Where Pathfinders really shine are their abilities. With double guide, they allow you to use the Tau Empire rule to increase the ballistic skill of a friendly unit by 1 twice on a single activation. And ignoring cover is an extra perk. In addition, they have Scout, letting you take some early board control or hide if you need to at the very start of the game. You can also optionally give them Infiltrate to really put the pressure on from turn 1. Or you can go with the route of giving your opponent -2 to charge. This works really well for holding a point and stifling any early advances. Lastly, they do have a pulse accelerator drone. However, since they're not an offensive type unit, this is usually one you leave at home. So what makes Pathfinder so special? Well, Infiltrate is great for an early board presence, but then coupled with Scout makes them unparalleled for finding the right place to be, which is great when you can guide 2 units, giving them +1 ballistic skill right off the bat for early offensives. Or you can hold them back with -2 to charge on your opponent, doing a great job at holding points. Or you can use them in tandem, have one screen early for the other, while the other one is difficult to engage. As for which detachment is best for Pathfinders, really, it's any of them thanks to their vast suite of tools that are available to them. However, in Kauyon, you can move them up in a transport, drop them off, guide, and then if they get charged, pop them back in, a fun little technique for 1 CP. Next up is a little vehicle with a lot of bite, the Piranha. Offense is where the Piranha really shines. With a fusion blaster and a big old Melta 4 and 2 Seeker missiles, they have tremendous one-shot potential right from the rip. Defensively, the Piranha's not too shabby either. T7 with 7 wounds, they're durable enough to withstand most overwatches, and low strength shots. Armor 4 can be easily overcome though. Abilities-wise, the Piranha comes with an interesting ability to Battle Shock, which could come in handy for preventing stratagem use. And a Scout 9 definitely helps them get up the board quite quickly from the get-go. Now what makes the Piranha so special is the giant 14-inch movement range, in addition to the Scout move, gives you the ability to go right up to your opponent's deployment zone. This will let you use that fusion and Melta to the best of its ability. And then, it's a fairly wide body, so it does a pretty good job at screening too. A couple of my favorite detachments for the Piranha are Mont'ka. Giving them Assault just further extends that fusion Melta range. Likewise, Experimental Cadre, increasing their base range, helps with that Melta. In addition, a group of them with guide plus strats can be oh so lethal. Saving the best for last, the bane of hobby goblins everywhere, the Ghostkeel. Offensively, the Ghostkeel brings serious spiking potential with its cyclic ion raker. At 2 shots, the fusion collider mathematically just doesn't add up. Twin Fusion Blaster in addition is nice to have and can surprise your opponent. But its primary purpose is not damage, but it can be great at doing it in a pinch. Defensively is where the Ghostkeel really shines, with an amazing suite of abilities, combining stealth for -1 to hit at range, with a sturdy T8 body, and a 2-up armor makes high volume, low strength very less effective. For higher strength, higher AP, the stealth in addition to the stealth drones do a great job at keeping it alive, zeroing out that high damage. Ghostkeels also have fantastic abilities, with Lone Op furthering their defensive capability, making them untargetable from outside of 12 inches, forcing your opponent to come in close to do anything about them. And Fall Back and Shoot is just great for getting out of a scuffle, but still remaining in the fight. What truly makes the Ghostkeel so special is the sum of its parts add up to a much greater whole. The combination of Lone Op, defensive, and offensive profiles force your opponent to make tough decisions. They can either engage the Ghostkeel, coming in close within 12 inches and opening themselves up to retribution, with either a throwaway unit that will die and deny them that asset for the rest of the game, or serious firepower that will result in a bad trade for them, because not much can take down a Ghostkeel at 160 points reliably. Or your opponent leaves the Ghostkeel alone, turning it into a great harasser, picking off wounds, and also a great objective and secondary score. Despite the 12-inch Lone Op, consider playing them aggressively in the mid-range to force those tough decisions from your opponent. My favorite detachment for the Ghostkeel has to be Experimental Cadre. With their stratagem for -1 to wound, it makes them extra tough. That said, the Ghostkeel is appropriate for any detachment in the Tau Codex. And there you have it, the 3 most underrated Tau units in their codex. If you have your own underrated unit, make sure you let me know in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. And then also, if you want to see these units in action, catch us on our battle reports, Sundays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Until next time, for the greater good!